Now let's see how null safety works in a function. Still in DartPad, create a new function that returns a string and call it sayHello. This will take two parameters, a string called name and a boolean called isMorning. In the function, declare a new string called hello. Now, if isMorning is true, set hello with a good morning string. Otherwise, set it to good evening. At the end of the if-else statement, let's add to the hello string an empty space and the name of the person we want to say hello to. Finally, let's return hello itself. OK, let's call it from the main method. So, create another hello string that calls sayHello, passing Donald for the name and null for isMorning. And quite obviously, you get an error here, as you cannot pass null to a function parameter. OK, just wanted to test null safety here. Let's just pass true. Finally, print hello in the console. Delete the name instructions as we don't need them anymore. Run the code, and as you might guess, Good morning, Donald appears in the console. There's not much to say about this function, and as you can see, null safety hasn't really changed the way you would write it. There's one thing I'd like to point out though. Remove the else block from the sayHello method, and you get an error. Actually, the compiler is smart enough to understand that you may have not set the hello value, and so it won't compile. So even when you use an if or switch or for cycle, you will not be able to use null values by default, and the compiler will tell you so. Now let's make things a bit more interesting. Make the isMorning parameter nullable. You can use the question mark symbol near the type of a function parameter to make it nullable. Now you can pass null to isMorning. But you get an error on the if statement. If statements must contain a boolean. And now isMorning can be a boolean, but can also be null. And there's a very easy solution here. Add an exclamation mark near isMorning, and the error disappears. The exclamation mark is called null assertion operator, and here you are telling the compiler that isMorning will always contain a valid boolean. This is also known as bang operator. So here is the thing. The null assertion operator that you write with an exclamation mark makes Dart and Flutter treat a value as non-nullable even when it's nullable. But please note that if you are wrong and your value is actually null, you get a runtime exception. I'd recommend using the null assertion or bang operator only when you really need it. But there's more. Remove the bang operator. Now check if isMorning is null. And if it is, set it to true. Now you get a warning here. You can just ignore it for now. But notice how the if isMorning instruction is not raising any error, even if isMorning is a nullable value. How's that possible? This is called type promotion, and it's a useful concept to understand and remember when dealing with null safety. Type promotion means that Dart will promote a nullable value and treat it as non-nullable after a null check. And this makes perfect sense if you think about it, as you will not get null errors on a value after specifically checking for nulls. And it also shows how smart the code parser is. OK, before moving on to the next episode, let's have a look at the warning. It says, prefer using a double question mark and an equals sign over testing for null. Let's see what this means. Comment out the if statement, and now write is morning, double question mark equals true. This is exactly the same as the code you've commented out. It means that when isMorning is null, it will take true, otherwise it will just ignore the statement. This is called a null-aware assign operator, meaning that it will assign the value on the right to the variable on the left only if the variable on the left is currently null. Short and effective, isn't it? Okay, in the next episode, let's see null safety in a more real-world Flutter example.